This is way better than we thought. We got some Padres injury updates to get to. Jake Cronenworth has joined the ranks of the Major League Baseball squad again, and he looks healthy and ready for action. What's going on, everybody? I'm Christian Pedersen. Welcome back to another episode of Padres Digest, the show that is here to ride emotionally shotgun with you all season. This is the part where, as I said, I introduce myself, I introduce the show, and I do the obligatory YouTube thing of asking you, can you please hit the subscribe button? Then we go back to talking baseball. You saw the news right there. Jake Cronenworth. He is back. He has returned to the Major League team. He has been optioned off of the 10-day IL, although he was on there much longer than 10 days, 4.5 weeks in total for him there. And Oscar Gonzalez is back to AAA El Paso. What does this do? How is Jake Cronenworth doing? Has he been okay in his rehab start? Let's talk about all of this. Let's talk about the specifics of how Jake Cronenworth has been doing in the minor leagues, in his rehab start. We've seen some footage of him earlier from at Petco, taking the basics of grounders. This was when he was still just kind of generally rehabbing with the team, and then he goes off to actually do some baseball stuff out in the minors, and there you go. First rehab game with the El Paso Chihuahuas. He went yard, and I'm sure that there are some of you out there that'll be like, yeah, he's a major leaguer batting against minor league arms. Of course he's supposed to go yard. Sure, maybe. Baseball doesn't 100% work like that. There are dudes down in the minors that are very serviceable quality professional baseball players, and there are major leaguers that treat rehab assignments like that, like you're getting better at it. You're not doing the major league thing. So to me, to show up game one of the true rehab stint seems to track with what we've seen with Jackson Merrill, and you can go watch the video there for that in-depth recovery. But it's the Padres slow walking a guy's return, making sure that he comes back at like the truly healthy mark. And yes, we went 9-22 over the missing Merrill and Cronenworth over the last couple of weeks. We've bottomed out. It has been some bad moments, but credit to AJ Preller, credit to Mike Shildt, credit to the ownership, whoever's making the decisions of bringing these guys back at a pace where we're not rushing them, and then we get results like this. So Cronenworth, in his first rehab game with the El Paso Chihuahuas, go yard. He has a couple. He ends up doing 2 rehab games. He looks, for all intents and purposes, back. It was a rib injury. It was a kind of freakish, sort of in the middle of a swing rib injury. It was not something that I think was necessarily overly like a huge worry, like, oh my gosh, he's going to need a UCL, or he's going to use retorted this, or he broke that. But it was, what does a rib do for that explosiveness? You know, if he's diving to his right or his left to make a play in the field, if he's swinging and he's really trying to get under one, like I'm doing a lot of motions here, doesn't fully convey what my mind's image is saying to you guys in terms of like, just, you need your ribs, you need to be fully extended, you need to be able to do all that stuff to play peak major league second base. When we talked also about with the Jackson Merrill return, we were curious, when he comes back, are we going to see him dive straight back into center field, or is he going to be a DH? I will be curious to see what they do with Cronenworth. I would assume, given the track record of this last month and a half of recoveries and decisions that they've making, that he is ready to go, and they're going to plug him directly in at second base. So assuming that he's healthy, assuming that he's ready to go, what does that do for the bigger picture of the team? Well, let me show you the stats on Cronenworth when we last saw him when he left this season. You know, maybe we're not plugging the dude in, but we're plugging another dude in. Like, this is a guy, this is a one step down from a signature franchise player. Jake's a great left-handed bat, solid defensively. He fits very much in the vibes and structure. Like, the team built around him being the second baseman. So we are getting our starting second baseman back, but also, to me, the key to the Padres' success over the long term of a baseball season, and not necessarily in the individual games to game, is depth. And that's also, I make a lot of obvious statements. I'm not, like I always say, I'm not a baseball insider. I'm not some genius. I'm just a dude on the internet. So some of these are just very observations. Depth is better, but that I think is what we saw more than lack of signature players. Because when Cronenworth and Merrill and some of those guys were out, and we had to do some of that tweaking here and there, Manny was still here. Fernando was like, we still had some of the best baseball players in the game on our squad. So it's not about depth of like top tier dudes. That always helps. But the depth is in that you can give a guy a day off and then not have to expose yourself to a ton of downside over the ability to plug and play your backup couple of dudes. And if Jake Cronenworth is coming back and able to hit somewhere along this line, I think that it's another obvious step in the right direction, but this is a big step in the right direction for the Padres because then it allows Jose Iglesias to not have to be an every single day player, and instead he can be a punctuated weapon. Instead he can be a late inning defensive substitution. And it doesn't even have to be that he's starting every day. It's just having the option of like, okay, we've got our Tyler Wade and our Iglesias and some of those other background guys that can fit in at a bunch of these different positions, so we're not hamstrung or handcuffed in any way, shape, and form going into a lefty, righty, lefty situation or a hard thrower guy. It adds, I think, so many weapons to Mike Shildt's overall arsenal that Merrill and Cronenworth both coming back will end up being, I've said it a couple of times now on some of these other shows, and you can go check out all the videos to prove that I am a guy. I'm at least I might be wrong, but I'm always consistent if I'm consistently wrong. I think the Padres bottomed out. I think granted, you can never predict or tell when injuries are going to come go, so it can always happen again, but the overlapping confluence of the guys that were missing out for the last month and a half or so, I think, combined with the pitching still getting better and more guys like Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove yet to come back, I think the Padres bottomed out, and now we're getting steps back in the right direction where we are winding up with the big-time pieces coming in to help, then also little punch, and everything is starting to line up that the Padres from here on out, like the fact that we survived that downtime, we are now going into the part of the season where the Padres can really start to rip it and get everybody healthy, get everybody on the same page, and I think go potentially from being like we're hanging in the wild card, like we're going to win the wild card, we need to get to a series to starting to formulate like, okay, this is how we figure out how to take down the Dodgers. This is how we figure out to take down, like we've got a couple of permutations out there of really, really elite lineups now that we've got everybody healthy and can really start tinkering with the different individual day-to-day permutations and maybe bigger things like, do we shop somebody now actively to go out and make a trade? Do we swap Xander Bogaerts for Rafi Devers? Do we get rid of Cease? I'm 99% sure Dylan Cease jumped in our DM or in our comment section in a burner account. I said I could be consistently wrong about everything, but there is one very staunch defender of Dylan Cease in the comment section, so not taking a specific shot at Cease. Just I'm saying there are pieces there where now, like, Cronenworth is a domino that falls and knocks a couple over in the positive direction for the Padres. Let me know, though, what you think. Jump in the comment section. Like I said at the beginning, if you could hit that subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. We got tons of content coming out all season long just to scratch your Padres fix and give you that fill. Keep the faith, Padres fans. Season keeps getting better.